This is a quick video on how to import character animations in Unity. I have a few FBX files here where I have a couple of different things. The first file, it is the 3D model, the 3D mesh with the rig in T-pose. No animation at all, just the mesh and the rig. And then I have a few clips here. These are all motion capture. So as you can see, I have like a breathing animation, a crouch to stand, jumping over different types of jump. And then I have the character crawling and also walking. So if we take a quick look in a 3D software, I'm going to use Blender. So let's quickly import a couple of those files so we can actually have a look. So the first one, again, it is just the 3D mesh and the rig. So this is how it looks in Blender. It looks a little bit weird because you know that Blender has, well, let's say an unconventional axis system where the Z axis is pointing up instead of the Y axis. So the rig, as you can see here, the bones are rotated into the wrong direction. They are pointing up instead of pointing into the direction they should be. But it's not a big deal. I mean, this is going to work anyway, and we don't really care because we're going to be working in Unity, not in Blender. This is just to show you how the files look like. So this is the 3D mesh in T-pose. And again, this one doesn't have any animation information. It is just a 3D mesh. Now, let me import one of these clips. So these again are motion capture animation. So if I take a look, let's say at this one walking, well, we still have the same issue as before with the bones pointing into the wrong direction, but that again, it's not a big deal. It looks weird, but it is not an issue at all for us. But now if I play the timeline, you can see that the character is walking. And as you can notice here, I don't have the 3D mesh anymore. I only have the animation clip. So the goal, of course, it would be to take the 3D mesh in T-pose and apply an animation clip coming from motion capture. In this case, it can be walking, but it can be any of the other clips that I have in this folder. So now here in Unity, this is just a blank scene straight from default. I just created like blank scene using the high definition render pipeline. And as you can see, it has the usual elements that you know already. It has a main camera, a sun, sky and fog volume, and the sky and fog volume, as you can see, it has procedural volumetric clouds applied to it. Not a big deal for us. We don't really care here. Potentially, we could add a volumetric cloud and disable them. Actually, let's do that. So everything is a little bit faster. So I'm going to start with creating just a plane. I'm going to reset the position. Oops. Okay, and maybe we can make this one a little bit bigger, perhaps. Something that I like to do when I'm doing very quick tests that involve some kind of animation is to add a little bit of some kind of information in the scene to read the space a little bit better. So just some kind of helpers. So I'm going to add perhaps a cube. So let's take this cube maybe over here. I'm going to duplicate that one. And maybe place it here. I'm gonna rotate it a little bit. This is a little bit out of the scope of this video, but just a good practice that I like to do. Okay, so we have these things. That's cool. Maybe I'm gonna make this one a little bit bigger. Something like that. Actually, it is not very visually pleasing to me, so I'm gonna make it like that. Okay. So let me create an empty object that I'm gonna call geometry. And I'm gonna take all of these, I'm gonna place it here. I'm going to also create another one that I'm gonna call lighting. I'm gonna place this one here. And the main camera, of course, I can put this in a different collection as well. We don't care that much at the moment because we only have one, so let's keep it there. Right, so in my project window, I'm going to create a new folder. And I'm going to call this one anim or animation or something like that. And now I can do right click, so in Explorer. So that will take me to that path. So of course it is empty because we just created the directory. So I'm going to go back to the folder where I had my FBX files, and I'm just going to copy them here. I'm going to copy the actual 3D mesh in T-pose. I'm going to copy that walk and maybe another clip so we can actually mix a couple of clips. Let's say this one, the breathing idle. You can copy everything, of course. So I'm going to copy that and paste it here. So now when I go back to Unity, Unity reacts to that. And as you can see here, now we have prefabs that correspond to all of that. So if I select this one, as you can see down here in the thumbnail, this is my T-pose. Then this would be my animation that you cannot really see straight away. We need to do a few things here. And then this one, it would be the other animation. Cool. So let's take these character in T-pose. I'm gonna drag and drop here into my hierarchy. Okay, so this one, as you can see, is exactly in the origin of the scene. And if I take a look closer here, we can see the character. As you can see in my game view, my camera is pointing into the other direction. So quickly, let me take the camera. Let me rotate this one 180. And now I'm going to position the camera somewhere here. There are many ways of controlling cameras in Unity, and I will do another video about that because I'm basically just learning about how to manipulate cameras in Unity, but it is not a big deal. I mean, I just want to have something here in my game view. Okay. Let's create another empty object that I'm going to call anim. And I'm going to move my character here. Also, in my project folder, I'm going to create a new folder called materials and another folder that I'm going to call textures. So in materials, let me create a few different shaders. So I'm going to create a new material that I'm going to call red material. And I'm going to set this one to red, and I'm going to assign it to one of the cubes. I can just duplicate this one and call it green material, and just choose a green material and assign it to another cube. Same with this one. to another cube. So I just have like I just want to have like visual cues basically. This scene I'm going to use later for a different video, so it would make a little bit more sense because we're going to see the cubes passing through the camera. So that would give us like a better sense of space. And I'm going to take a pink material now. These are usually the 4 colors that I use for pretty much everything when it comes to dummy shaders. Okay, great. Now, this character already has textures and materials. They are not made for Unity. We could, of course, make those materials and those textures if we wanted to actually make pretty renders. It is not the case now. We just want to have something in the viewport to identify the character, but this video is mostly about how to import motion capture into Unity. So I don't really care about the look of things at this point, okay? So I'm going to select the prefab, which is this guy here in T-pose. Actually, where is my anim? Here. Okay, so I'm going to select the prefab down here, not in the hierarchy, but in the project window. Then I go to the inspector, and here I have a few different options: model, rig, animation, and materials. We can go through this stuff at some point. Now I'm going to go just straight to the point. So I'm going to click on the materials tab, and here it says textures, extract textures. So you know that you can export FBX files with embedded materials and textures. So that's basically what we have here. Again, this is not about making this character look pretty. It is just about making it functional for a visual representation point of view. So I'm gonna just click on extract textures. And now we need to select a folder where we want to extract that material. So we created this texture folder down there. So if I go here to textures, this is extracting the textures, as you can see there. So now we have the textures. We can do the same with the materials. We can go to materials, and now it will, well, if you go to textures, we have the texture here, as you can see here. And then we have as well the material for the body, brows, eyes, and eyes specular. Again, this doesn't look any good. This doesn't look like whatever this type of cloth is. I don't know if this is what type of fabric it is. It all looks the same, but again, we don't care about that at this point. We just want to have something in the viewport, and this looks good. So I'm going to save the scene, and now we can move forward. Now let's select the prefab again. So I'm going to go to anim and select this guy. We have a couple of things here that we need to set up in order to work with these motion capture clips that we have here. So I can go to the rig tab, and now here where it says animation type, we can set this one to humanoid, and this is going to set the avatar in that way for us. And if we go to the avatar definition, we can choose a couple of different options. One is create from this model, and another one is copy from other model. This is what we want to do. We want to create an avatar from this 3D mesh, from this geometry here, from this guy. Okay, at this point, we don't really need to worry about anything else. So I'm just gonna click on apply. Okay, cool. So now if I select the passive marker man here, my 3D character, you can see here in the inspector that in the animator component, we have an avatar, which is called, well, passive marker man, which is the name of the asset, plus avatar. This is what we just did by going here to the rig tab and creating an avatar, which is a humanoid type from this model. Cool. Now we have here a couple of clips. This one, which is the breathing idle, and this one, which is the walking. So let's start with the breathing idle, because breathing idle, sorry, because what we want to do, we want to apply these animation clips to this 3D mesh using the avatar that we just created. Right. So selecting this one, we go to the inspector, and this looks very similar to what we had before, right? So if I go to animation, this looks a little bit weird, right? Actually, if I press play, doesn't really work. It doesn't do anything at all. And this is because we need to configure the animation clip first. So I'm going to go to rig, and in the animation type, I'm going to set this one again to humanoid, same as the avatar that we just created. And in the avatar definition, instead of create from this model as we did before, now we already have an avatar, and we want to use that avatar to use this animation clip. So I'm going to select on copy from other avatar, and here in source, now we need to select the avatar, because of course we could have multiple avatars in the scene. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to select this passive marker man avatar. There you go. And that's it, really. Now we need to apply the changes. Okay. And now if we go to the animation tab, now you can actually see that this makes way more sense. We can make this a little bit bigger if we want to. And if we play the clip, now we can see the animation. So this is just a very subtle animation, because it's just breathing, but it works, right? This is what we wanted. Okay, great. Now the clip is working, but of course, if I play, nothing really happens because we haven't applied this clip to a timeline yet. So let me create an empty game object that you can call as you want. I'm going to call it timeline, and I'm going to move this into my animation collection. And now with the timeline selected, we can go here to the timeline window and click on create. Where do we want to save this new timeline? So I'm going to save it in my animation scene, and I'm going to call it timeline 01 and save it. And now we have a timeline. I'm going to lock this window by pressing on this lock icon. And now what we can do here, we can drag and drop the T-pose prefab from the hierarchy into the timeline. And this is going to create an animation track. So I'm going to take my T-pose character and drag and drop here. And now we can choose add animation track. There you go. Still, nothing happens. We just created the track where we are going to add a little bit of information, animation information in this case, of course. So now we can just right click here and we can say add from animation clip. And here you have multiple animation clips. You can actually filter here, right? If you do something like breathe, is going to find the animation clip that we're looking for. Sometimes, especially if you have a lot of clips here, I don't know, it might be a little bit messy to look what you're looking for. but of course, using this filter field makes everything a little bit easier. But instead of doing this, you can also go here and take the animation clip and drag and drop here. There you go. Let me zoom out here so you can move this. Of course, this is just a regular timeline, but as you notice already in the viewport, now we have that clip applied. You can see both in the viewport and in the game view. Great. And of course, this being a clip, you can do whatever you want here. You can make it shorter, you can make it faster, you can crop it, you can blend it, you can do whatever you want. We're not going to talk about that, but this is how it works. You can, of course, mute it here. And so now it's muted, and we go back to the T-pose character. Okay, I'm going to select the other animation clip that was the walking. Again, this is not working. We need to configure this animation clip first. So let's go to rig. Let's make the animation type humanoid. Let's set the avatar definition to use the avatar that we created, which is this guy. And let's apply. So now when we go to animation, we have our character walking. Great. So we can repeat the same process. We can just go here. We can take the clip, drag and drop, and put it here. So now we can play this. It is breathing, and at some point it's going to start to walk, as you can see there. Okay, of course here is going out of camera because our camera is there. We're not animating the camera. We will do that a little bit later in another video. Yeah, this is all working. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but this clip, this walking clip, is loopable. It can loop to the infinity if you want to. So if you want to do that in Unity, you can just select the clip here in the timeline, go to the inspector, and we can set the post extrapolate to loop. And then we can set the loop to on. So now, well, it is looping here, but it's going back to the origin. That's because we need to extend the clip. So we can take the clip, just extend it. And by doing that, the character is now walking to infinity. Well, not to infinity, to the end of this clip. Okay. And of course, we can blend these two clips if we want to. So let's make this one a little bit shorter, and then we can do something like that. We need to find the sweet spot, of course. That might be too much. There you go. This one seems to work pretty good. So if we play this now, now we have these two clips working. Great. So this is it. This is basically a very quick, short introduction into how to get motion capture clips with an T-pose character and put everything together in Unity.